How do we get the Kardashians to take the bus to South Park Mall? Find out on this episode of Thursday Think. So, this Thursday Think is about Charlotte, the fastest city in the South. And I've designed a transit system that I think would be a lot better than what we have going on. And so, the thesis behind the plan is a transit system that's simple, reliable, and enticing would gift Charlotte the culture it needs. Like, it would be a factor in going to Charlotte to see the transit system. An enticing system with large ridership would pay for itself, enable frequent trips, and not even be taboo. Like it wouldn't be like seedy or a classist thing to take the transit. So yeah, that's the question. How do you entice people like the Kardashians? It's an extreme example, but to take the bus to South Park Mall. And so I've made this plan that kind of shifts the narrative of what the bus and transit system will look like, includes bus routes, crosstown routes, as well as just relying on the blue line to be this ultimate spine of the city. And so we scrap all the rail plans being planned. So Silver Line, it's over. Gold Line, we're going to rip it up and sell it for parts because the Gold Line is really just a financialization tool to make Charlotte look good. It doesn't work for people. And we're going to focus on Gucci buses, just amazing buses, frequency, comfort, amenities. So they wouldn't be, I mean, something fancy obviously wouldn't necessarily look like this. I'd actually rather it be a little more opaque and open and airy. But this is just an example of, something where you can open your laptop, have a seat down, just kind of like an airplane seat, a little more room. But yeah, just a better bus. No further expansion of any roads, widening roads within 45, because if you have a great transit system, you don't need widening roads. Everybody's going to be on the bus, or everybody's going to be staying in their nice little 20-minute neighborhood. The routes are built around Charlotte attractions. Blue Line would be extended to the Speedway and to the mall. So instead of the Blue Line ending here and here, you would extend up past PNC Music Pavilion, Charlotte Motor Speedway, and you get down the Carolina Place Mall, and then over to Ballantyne or Carowinds on the Gucci buses. But yeah, that's just how it's that's what the plan is just creating more of a spine for the city instead of a hub and spoke kind of typology. And even though there's kind of like parallels here, it's like, okay, how do I get between these neighborhoods? We would have like jaunts. So this is just a grid, but they would just be connecting the neighborhood. And there's this company in Charlotte called Ride Jaunt. And, it's a little bit more personable, hop on, hop off type system. And it's just fun. And they'll just be dedicated local citizens of these neighborhoods just going up and down. So it's just simple and easy. You get on the jaunt, take the Gucci bus, and head to IKEA or head from North Lake to University City. And that's kind of one of the things that spurred this idea is like this trip for me going from why did it do that? This trip for me going from home to IKEA, which is kind of the center is kind of a neighborhood center for me. It'll take an hour transferring two buses just to get on a road that I could drive 6 minutes to. So it's just reorganizing the bus routes to where the bus routes now are kind of like very uptown centric, like most buses lead to uptown. There's some crossings, but there's just a mess of buses in uptown. And that's what kind of spurred this idea is like my connection to the IKEA kind of neighborhood that they're building there. and the fact that you can't get from North Lake Mall to University on the bus. I think W.T. Harris should have a dedicated bus line, especially when you consider all the apartment complexes along W.T. Harris. And it's not a bikeable street by any means. So if you don't have a car, W.T. Harris is really not for you. And I think that's a shame because it's a pretty important boulevard. But yeah, so we're shifting from the hub and spoke of the Charlotte bus system to the spine and rib. I think we need to accept that Uptown is over as far as the city center. I think with what we've seen with COVID and with the death of the epicenter, I mean there's enough to do in Charlotte, and there's the rise of South End, Noda, Midwood, South Park area, University even, and that growth should be encouraged to where you just have this spine of cities, of small cities that are all connected by this blue line, which in my plan would have a express rail as well as a regular rail. So it wouldn't take so long because you won't be stopping at every stop. You would just be stopping at all of the stops on the plan on the express line. But yeah, it's just about changing over the expectation of what Uptown can bring. And Uptown's great. It has sports stadiums, it has museums, it has, it's a much more of a tourist place as more than a place to live. And that's fine. And what you do to that is you make it a social district. So you make it very hard, or you make it very accessible for scooters and bikes and, golf carts and jaunts to just, hop on, hop off, get to where you need to go. Uptown's a very walkable and accessible area, and leaning into that would be, I think, great, and just, lay off the centrality of Uptown and let the other parts of Charlotte shine. Like, for me, the IKEA center should be my city center. That's where I should be able to find everything I need, and I almost can. But the shame is that my only bus route, well, the most convenient bus route, is taking me all the way to Uptown if I want to go anywhere. Now, I don't always need to go to Uptown to get where I need to go. So my conclusion is that reliable and attractive bus routes enable transit-oriented development to make sense. Like, you have these apartment complexes being proposed without parking, or really, and people are being squeezed, like they can't live inside Charlotte without a car, and that's true. But if you have these efficient and reliable 15-minute wait times on the buses, 7-minute wait times on the blue line, it just makes more sense to use the blue line. It enables community. Like, you feel like the city supports you because they've thought about you. You live in this apartment and it can get you anywhere. And the DNA of how to get around Charlotte needs to shift to the future, where the city is a collection of towns on the spine, instead of a hub and spoke. And then, I think overall you need to view transit as something a tourist would even come to the city to experience. Like, it could be the fastest transit city in the South, and I stole that from somebody on Reddit, but it just kind of goes into the, NASCAR car racing heritage that Charlotte has. A lot of people complain about Charlotte culture, but, racing is a very embedded culture in Charlotte, and getting the blue line to go up to the speedway would be, a nod to that, as well as just giving Charlotte something to rally around. So thanks for tuning in. I'll have the PDF of my bus route up on the website, and we'll see you later.